Hi, Sarah.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? We were just talking about how much we like the word darling
Oh, thank you.
and how it's sort of retro, but sort of cool at the same time.
That was the goal.
Yeah, it's great. We're so happy that you're doing this with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm honored.
I want you to know that when we started Inside Wink and we were thinking, what's a website that we really love and that we think we just love, sort of like picking out flowers for a bouquet. And your website, your magazine was one of the first ones. We've been so inspired and we love it. So,
Oh, thank you. That's so kind.
yeah.
And we're interested to figure out, we were reading about you and you were sort of like in the industry modeling. And then to go from that to something that doesn't even alter photos is such a wonderful jump. And we were hoping you could talk about that a little.
Sure. Yeah, so I moved to LA from a really small town in Oregon for school, actually in Orange County. And I wanted to work in the film industry. And so I was doing some different internships at Sony Pictures and another one for Tobey Maguire, and just, getting used to the industry and trying to work in it. And then I wasn't making any money, so I needed to get a part-time job. So I found out about extra work. So I started being an extra on TV shows and movies and things like that. But it's just grueling, 17-hour days, yes. Like literally nothing. I were just like sleeping on the floor in a carpeted room with fluorescent lights once, waiting for my turn to go.
I'm wondering, is this worth it?
Yeah, just like, what is happening with my life? So then I heard about an open call at an agency called Wilhelmina, which is a really top agency in LA. And when I was in high school, I did a little bit of modeling and got scouted in a mall, type of thing. And so I was like, maybe I could do, commercial lifestyle modeling. So I went to the open call and I got signed that day. And so
wow.
Like, okay, great, and started doing that. And all of a sudden, I was booking jobs for Target and Kohl's and Crocs and Chase Bank, like very commercial type of stuff. But there's good money in that, and it can be fun and exciting, so I started doing that. And it just really was crazy to be on the inside and see how that industry works. I'm really grateful that it has improved, and hopefully Darlene's been a part of that. But just going into auditions and seeing every single person there looks exactly the same as you, and you fill out this paperwork that is the measurement of your wrist and your elbow and your arm and your neck and your thighs. It's just so bizarre. And so I just started to see how messed up it was that I was 25 years old in catalogs for 60-year-old women, and I was being retouched, so I already knew the industry wasn't great, but it was seeing that really sparked the conversation.
Wait, I want to understand, you were 25 in catalogs for people in their 60s, and at that point they were retouching you?
Oh yeah, retouching me all the time, even in my tiny wrinkles, or if I had a blemish, or I swear some of them would make me skinnier. I don't even know what was happening. If you saw my portfolio, you would see. But I just thought, this is really messed up. This is a vicious cycle and a really narrow definition of beauty. And so that was where some of the conversations for Darlene started with my best friend Kelly at the time. We said, what if we make a magazine that has all sizes of women, and maybe we don't retouch them, and we talk about real topics, instead of a group of editors in a room making up stories, let's talk about things we've been through, like anxiety and depression, and then we'll pull in other women who have wisdom in other areas and get them to speak to that too. So the idea of pulling from actual wisdom that people have to speak into issues versus creating all these salacious headlines that don't really serve anyone and make everyone feel terrible after they've read the magazine. So that's really where all of that came from. And once I started doing the magazine, I started casting models from the same agency that I was with, and then the agents loved it. and started working with us. So it kind of came full circle and redeemed itself a little bit. You know, all
That's
my
so
work
great.
there. Yeah.
That's so excellent. You know, you might be too young, but I remember when Jamie Lee Curtis did a photo shoot with no makeup and no retouching, and it was like everyone was shocked by that. And it was what like it was on all the news that she like
A real person.
right? like don't look at it, you know. And I have a couple of kids, and my son who's 21 is saying, you know, you're because I have like ring, like I can do my brows, and and he was like, you look like I'm 63. And he's like, you know, you look good, Ma, because your face moves. Like, I think most of the people he sees on TV, their faces don't. Like,
Right.
it's such a weird
So
thing we're putting out there, you know? So kudos to you.
thank you.
Really, it's pretty great. And when did you guys start? Like about a decade ago?
We started, it's so funny, on November 11th at 11:11 p.m. And we were just being funny. We're
So
like,
did
We
we.
did too.
really? Are you serious?
Yeah, we took all the double digits and we launched Inside Wink on 11/11 at 11:11.
That's right. We post all our posts at 11:11. Like, it's just,
Wow, there's some
Yeah.
synergy there between us.
you know, that's right. That's very, very funny.
Yeah, so it was 2012, I guess, right? No,
Right.
2011. Yeah, I think,
Wow.
yeah, so we're gonna do just some fun posts, you know, on that anniversary. But we started with a blog, and then we launched the magazine off of Kickstarter, a crowdfunding campaign. So that's how we started, with $19,000 and tried to make it happen from there.
That's fantastic.
And it did. And how was the growth of your magazine? Did you was it arduous and hard, or was it a flowing thing? Did things just start coming to you? And like, how has that journey been?
I would say it was flowing at first. I think we were really on the forefront of quarterly, like nice quarterly magazines, you know, that were a $20 price point, like us and Kinfolk and a couple of these other magazines that came out at the same time. So at first, it was really great. By issue 3, we got an Anthropology and Whole Foods and some issues in Nordstrom's, you know, and it was gaining a lot of momentum. So we were, you know, printing around 10,000 in the beginning. But then, you know, over the last few years, I would say 6 years, definitely, you know, the print industry really started to wane and die. And so we really struggled, you know, during those years. Just people really weren't buying print as much, you know, and it was just a lot of things were changing digitally, and like a lot of advertisers were taking their advertisements out of print into digital, you know, super high traceable ads through Facebook. And so it became a real struggle to self-publish. And then our last issue 25, was published by Meredith Publishing. So it had a distribution of 350,000.
Wow.
It was March 2020, like literally the day that COVID hit. So that issue is now, you know, our last big issue. So we're looking for, you know, other opportunities there, because all the publishing houses are like, we can't even get paper. It's like the toilet paper shortage. It's the same thing. So everyone's kind of halted with print right now. So we're continuing just to do digital content and products, and hopefully be able to do some more events and just branch out in some of those things, and then hope for the future of print again, you know, because I still really like it in a print medium. So we're looking forward to being able to do that somehow.
My parents were reporters for the New York Daily News. And, you know, I have to tell you, it was such a big thing. And you are so right. Everything is, you know, digital now. And my mom still used to read a newspaper, you know, but now it's like, I don't even know that you can, I don't even know that you can get one, you know, it's so crazy. I did want to ask you, you have sort of, I don't even know what you call them, like the dreamer, the achiever, the hostess. What would you call those? Like iconic?
They're called personas.
Okay, so you have, I'm just going to read them for our viewers. The dreamer, the achiever, the hostess, the beautician, the confidant, the explorer, the stylist, the intellectual. And I was wondering how you came up with those and which you are.
Oh, I love that question. So in the beginning, we started talking about, the diversity of beauty, not only physically with women, but also like intellectually, through personality and just how different we all are. Now, personality tests are really popular now, things like the
Yeah.
Enneagram or things like that. But back in the day, it was, not really a thing. And so we said, how could we make different categories for the magazine instead of health and beauty and, this and that with personas. So I think the one that I definitely identify the most with is probably the dreamer. My friend and I, who founded the magazine, just tried to pick 8, that there's obviously so many more, but it represents all the different hats that women wear. So essentially we're all of them,
Right.
Obviously we go on a hike, so we're the explorer, we travel and we use our brains, so we're intellectual, we like style and beauty, so we're the beautician, the stylist. So you kind of fit into all of them, but I would say the dreamer. I think that I function from a lot of my mind and creativity and just existential thoughts and just being in that space of thinking about the world and the purpose of life and what will inspire people. I'm kind of dreamy in general as a person. So I would say that's my strongest persona from Darlene. But over the years, people didn't quite always understand them. A lot of people really gravitate towards them. So we did some subcategories under each of them that would be like health and beauty and world issues or things, so that people could understand kind of where they're falling. But I think they're
I love them.
Outside of the box. Yeah.
Yeah, I love them. Do you have a spiritual practice?
Myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely a spiritual person. I think my faith really guides me, and I really spend time every morning praying and journaling and just trying to submit my life, and realize that I'm not in control. So and that is an element of the dreamer too, is just spirituality and realizing that, we're so much more than our bodies,
Yes.
Right.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So Sarah, since you've had this magazine, this platform for 10 years, and you're, fit chronologically very young, but how have you seen yourself grow or evolve over the past 10 years?
Wow, that's a good question. Just a lot. I mean, being an entrepreneur is really tough. I always tell people, you have to have really thick skin to do it, and you have to be really resilient. I think in the beginning I was very dreamy and optimistic. Everybody's saying, why are you starting a print magazine? Print is gonna die. That's the future. And
you have deadlines constantly. Why do that to yourself?
Exactly. But so many people, discourage you. And so it's when you have setbacks. I think I've just really, really learned that, you're going to make so many mistakes just as a person who's trying to lead anyone or anything. And I've made so many mistakes. And I think I really used to beat myself up over that a lot, and just having a lot of people in my life mentoring me and helping me through, what does it look like to be a leader and realize that you fail at business, you make mistakes. Like, what does it look like to, to quote my business coach, she always says to have unconditional positive regard for yourself, no matter what you do. And that idea of that unconditional love for yourself and for others, having it for yourself first makes you a more gracious person towards others. And so I think I've really had to learn that, and growing in that really helps you face so many different things, and I think I'm also a person that doesn't love conflict, and there's a lot of conflict when you're working with people, thousands of people, and you're speaking to society and they don't like, our definition of a woman, or they don't agree with the mission statement of Darling or whatever it is, so just
Right.
being able to realize like that it's fine that that person thinks that, it doesn't affect me, so I think it's just the idea of handling all this external pressure that's coming at you in so many different ways. I would say that's the way that I've grown, but it's definitely been through having a lot of help.
That's good.
And women that are older than me. So
Well, you can call us if you like.
I would love
We
that.
we fit into that now.
Yeah.
Do you find that the demographics and that your magazine has also, I don't like the word grown up, but do you know what I mean? Has also grown in that way as you have, or has it sort of stayed where it was and you're observing it in a different way now?
I think it's stayed the same, through a lot of the different surveys we've done about our audience.
Mhm.
It's always been, like 18 to 40, but then a lot of outliers, like a lot, like my grandma reads it, my mom loves it, like, and then the
Right.
mom give it to the daughters and the daughters give it to the mom, it has a really wide demographic actually, but the core demographic is really that kind of college, young professional girl, young mom, and I'm 39, so I'm definitely, on the the tail end of like what our demographics show, but I think that's good because I'm a
Me
little
too.
bit beyond it now and able to speak to it, but I'd also love for it to age in certain ways too. So it's a really interesting brand that way. It's hard to pinpoint because a lot of
Yeah.
people can enjoy the topics because they're more universal. They're not necessarily
Yeah.
based on age.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And is there, your stories really go deeper than most in my mind. Like, you read other magazines and it's sort of like, how sheets help you orgasm, or like, you're like, oh, okay. And this is like a little bit more like, how a little more self-evolved. And I really enjoy your articles. Is there some article or some piece of advice that you've gleaned or holds a special place in your heart that you've learned from your own publication?
I'm trying, I think that what I've learned is that there's just always a story under the story. That's what I always say.
Mhm.
So even if you look at a lot of the things that cause conflict in journalism, it's like we can talk about all the different opinions on COVID in so many different articles and cause so many different fights, right? Or we can talk about the story underneath the story, which is the issue of fear for all of us, right? Like
Right.
fear is what is driving everything. Like it's scary, it's unknown, people are dying. Like that's the emotion we're all experiencing. So it's like, how can we speak to kind of the issue underneath the issue? And so that has taught me a lot with Darling. As we create things, we always say, what's like the real thing going on here with women? What are they actually here to be encouraged? Like, how can we get out of these weeds and not be a part of this fight, whether it's political or based in any other women's issues? And how can we address more of the heart or the psychological issue going on? And I feel like that's kept us out of just a lot of those arguments because we think that a lot of them are futile when it comes to print. It's not a real conversation face to face. It's very hard to talk about things like that unless you're in a tight community, like to the masses. So that's something that I've learned is with everyone and, all the turmoil online and on social media, it's all because there's issues under the issues. So that's what I've learned.
That is so true. I mean, the commonality that I share with someone that may not hold my political views is based in fear or love. Do you know? And I totally agree. I know people that haven't had their vaccine because they're so afraid. And I know people that would want a fourth booster because they're so afraid. So, it's like they'd like to get a booster every day because they're so frightened. So, you're totally right. There is always something underneath. There's always a common thread that we all feel. I totally agree with you. That's great.
Okay, Sarah, so just stepping aside from the magazine for a moment, what do you love about your life right now?
Yeah, I was just thinking that the other day that I was like, I love my life so much right now. It's
Oh,
just
that's so
it's
great.
so great. I have a husband who I am obsessed with. I've been married to him for 10 years. Um, we're just really get along really well, and he's my best friend. So we just have a really great, environment in our home, and he's, helped me with Darling all along the way from day one, and we're just partners. We are a team in every way, and so I that's something I really love and enjoy is my relationship with him. And then, adding our two kids to the mix. I have a 5-year-old and a 17-month-old.
Oh,
I
wow,
didn't know that.
congratulations.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah,
I
what
Wow.
didn't know you were a mom, and we both researched you.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
wait, did you have that child right before COVID or right?
In June 2020, I had him the night of when LA was on fire with riots and there was a 6 p.m. curfew. That was the night that he was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And did you make it to the hospital?
Yeah, we just had to break the curfew. We were driving and there was not one car on the 110 South in downtown LA because I had him downtown at
Right.
Good Samaritan Hospital. And we got there and no one was there. They said, there's one other person in this whole hospital and you, and like all the lights were off and there was just a security guard in the lobby. Literally all the main lights were off. And just like there's like a dim light on the security guard. I was like, are you guys open? Because I need to have a baby. So we went there and the doctor came, and then the next morning, I think he came at like 7 a.m. or something, and then there was a 4.5 earthquake the next morning. And I was like, okay, his name is Arrow, and it means mountain of strength in Hebrew, his name. And I was like, okay, you are a strong
Oh
boy.
my gosh. That sounds like the beginning of like a Netflix film with the like one little light over the security.
Totally, that's literally what it was.
It's like, is this a 7-Eleven or a hospital? Like, what am I? Where am I?
Bizarre. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so my kids are just really fun. So I enjoy what I get to do with Darling, and then just having two little boys. I really thought that I wanted a girl because I'm like, I do Darling. Of course I have to have a girl, but I didn't. And I think I'm probably done unless I maybe adopt a girl or something. But I am really happy with them and they're just so fun. I'm excited to raise good men. So that's what I enjoy right now is just my family. I really having fun.
Excellent.
I think during this time, everybody has realized that what really is important are these connections.
Mm-hmm.
Like with your children, your husband, out in the world. I do not envy you though, having to go through quarantine with two children that age.
Yeah, we just went out all the time. We have
Yeah.
e-bikes, so we just rode around all the time, and we went to all the parks, even though the parks had caution tape. I was like, "What are we
Right.
doing? We have caution tape around outdoor parks." Like that one I couldn't do. I was like, "I'm sorry, we're not doing that. There's no one here, so we're just going."
I'd see people walking in my neighborhood and the parents looked a little bit like zombies and they're like, let's look at this leaf. Oh, look, here's a new crack in the sidewalk. And I would like, oh my gosh, God bless you. Yeah.
We just had to go outside. We had a yard and we bought a little hot tub and a trampoline. So those saved us. We just went outside every single day. I know some people didn't leave the house, but we literally went out every single day.
Yeah, us too. Totally. You're like, let's go. It's midnight. We're outside. Come on.
Yeah, no one was around. It was great.
Yeah, I know. It was so well. That more power to you and Arrow that you guys got through that in the middle. That's amazing. That's amazing to me. Do you have any words of advice for somebody that might be starting out? I mean, of any age. Our demographic is really like 40 and up. And, a lot of people at this point, I think, are changing careers or retiring or looking for something that like it gives their heart joy. And so is there any advice that you might give someone starting out on a journey like maybe yours or?
Yeah, first of all, I would say you're never too old to start anything. I think that realizing what your passion is, and just being really clear about it, and whether it's something that you should actually start, or if someone's already doing what you're doing and you should join them. That's a good first question too, because being a founder is a lot of work. It depends on if you're up for it. But I would say that the first thing that we did with Darling is write the mission statement that I'm sure you've read, and it's
Love it.
thank you. It's one of our most viral things. It's our best-selling product above anything that we've ever sold, even the magazine. It's just people buying a print of that. And we spent 6 months writing it, my friend and I, and just being really intentional about what is your vision, and being really honest with yourself about what is the problem that you're solving. And I always say it's what is your why, doing the why, the what, and the how, and in what order you do that, and really starting with the why and getting that so clear, and asking other people about it. Do you think this is something the world needs? Like, why are we doing this? What's the reason? What's the problem we're solving? And then you go to the what and the how the product or the manifesto is executed in the world. And that's just a really good exercise to be like, do I really like this? Would I have sustained passion for this for years? Would I be able to raise money for this? Would I be able to continue doing this? And I think that's something that we did. And I always talk to founders about that. And I'm very surprised about how many people don't have a clear vision about what they're doing, where I'm like, tell me in one line what you're doing. They're like, I'm like, if you were in an elevator with me, what would you say in 3 sentences? I ask questions like if I said, well, why are you doing it? Or who are your competitors? So just having those on the tip of your tongue to create is really, that's my best advice, because I think that starts you on a trajectory, and then you can start to find out what are the things you need to do in order to support that mission to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
I love
That's
that.
amazing. We have your cards, and I sent them to everybody, and they're like, this is so great.
Right.
So we're spreading your message too. We love it. We love it.
I gave my daughter the decal, some of the mirror decals, and my daughter's 28 and she loves your magazine.
Yeah.
And your wisdom it's timeless, hence wisdom. So I thank you for that. And you're just so beautiful inside and out. And we at Inside Wink, it's all about what's going on within you that you're expressing in the outer world. And you're doing it. And we're so impressed and appreciative of everything.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Your house is awfully quiet with a 17-month-old.
He's taking a nap right now in my.
That is excellent.
Putting away the groceries that I just brought home, because I was like, I can't do this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we thank you so much, and congratulations and great job. You've really you've helped us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you guys based in LA?
Yep.
We are.
That's awesome. Maybe we should meet up sometime. That'd be fun.
Would love that. Anytime anyone's napping.
Okay.
We'll drive down to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Have a great day.
Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.